JJ, welcome to Breakdown. SEC versus the Big Ten. JJ, this is a biggie.
This is a biggie.
This is our 50th, well, this will be our 50th YouTube video. I commend you for putting up with me for the 49 previous videos. As I said, this one is a biggie. We're going to talk about the beast.
Yes.
The Big
Ten
Ten
East.
East. Ready to do it?
I'm ready to do
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Big Ten East consists of Indiana, Maryland,
Yes.
Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, and Rutgers.
It absolutely does.
All right. Let's take them in reverse alphabetical order.
Reverse alphabetical order. All right, let's
Rutgers first.
let Rutgers first. All right, so that it looks like they have 3 games against preseason ranked teams. What do you think about their upcoming season?
Their over and under is 4.
The over-under's 4. Last year they went
5-8.
They went 5-8. So
So they beat it last year.
they're predicting a slight regression. What say you?
You know what? I'm going to say they beat Boston College at Boston College. They're going to beat Wagner. They're going to beat Temple. They're going to lose to Iowa, lose to Ohio State, beat Nebraska. Everybody's going to beat Nebraska. And then they're in for a long skid after Nebraska. So I'm going to say they under.
You say
Oh, I'm sorry. I say they pushed. I got them winning 4 games.
yeah, I'm winning 4 games even. So
Yeah.
the over under, you said that they set the line perfectly. You push.
Yeah.
I have them going under. I'm not as confident that they beat Boston College to start the season. Missouri lost against Boston College at Boston College last year. I think Rutgers absolutely could.
Okay.
Rutgers, the best thing that they did last year, I think, was play Michigan tough to a one score game. But other than that,
Well, they do have a shot at Indiana, though. Even if they lose that one, I had initially said that they would beat Indiana, lose to Indiana, but they could beat Indiana.
they could beat Nebraska as well.
Didn't I have them beat Nebraska?
Well,
I think I did. I had them 4 wins. Nebraska was the 4th one I had. Out of their first 6 games, I had them winning 4. But it might take 7 games for them.
Just a side note: if Nebraska loses to Rutgers after having already lost to Northwestern, they might as well fire Scott Frost right after that.
Yeah, you're right. That most likely would happen if that were the case. So
you have a push. I have them going under.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, Penn State, JJ, they got their quarterback Clifford coming back. It's his 6th year.
Yeah.
Last year they were 7-6. The over and under this year is 8.5.
Yes.
They got Clifford. I think I heard him say he was getting a pension from the NCAA. He's been there so long. So they got experience.
So what say you? Do you think that the 8.5 is a good number?
Before I answer that, I can't wait till they play at Auburn. I don't really think Auburn is a good team.
They beat Auburn last year in Happy Valley.
That's right. And this year they got to go to Auburn. If they beat Auburn at Auburn, I think they have a good shot at getting 9. But man, I tell you, I think their receiver's going to be good.
Well, yeah, they lost Jahan Dotson to the draft, but they did get that transfer from Western Kentucky,
Yeah.
Mitchell Tinsley. So, as a former Western Kentucky,
Hilltopper.
as a former Hilltopper, you can't go wrong when you acquire one of those guys in your receiving corps. So,
The thing about Penn State, the last game of the season, to me, is going to be a big game for both these schools. That's going to be Michigan State. And they're going to be at home against Michigan State, the last game of the season. I don't know, boy, that's 8.5. And with the 8.5 point spread, there can't be a push.
No.
So my question is, will they go over? They only played 3 teams in the preseason top 25. That's
But they should play 4 because obviously they play Central Michigan, who should be ranked in the top 25. We all know.
Okay, they play at Michigan, home to Ohio State, and home to Michigan State. 8.5. I'm gonna be negative and say they do not get 8.5. I'm gonna say they lose to Michigan State.
I will join you in that boat, and I think they win 8 games. I don't think they win 8.5 games,
Okay.
though. So I'm going to be slightly negative and go with just under
Okay.
8.5.
Well, JJ, we're moving on. We're talking about the big beast. That's the Big Ten East. Now we're going to talk about the beast of the beast. Who is that?
That would be the best team in the conference, which is Ohio State.
The beast of the beast.
Who has the best non-conference opponent in Notre Dame to open their schedule. So that should be an exciting matchup.
No, Ohio State have 3 teams in the preseason top 25. They start off with number 5 and they end the season with number 8. And stuck in there in the middle is number 15, Michigan State. So they started with Notre Dame, first game of the season. Last game of the season, Michigan. In week 6, they got to come to East Lansing.
Yeah.
Go green. Okay, Ohio State, 10.5. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of points to give. I mean, they will. They have to win 11 games.
And last year, in a down season, they won 11 games.
A down season, huh?
I think they would consider that to be a down season. They didn't contend for the college football championship.
They didn't make it to the playoff.
Any year they don't make it to the playoff, I would think that they would consider that a down season.
Okay. Well, I think they blow Notre Dame out in week 1.
Okay.
Interesting. Notre Dame is rated number 5 in the country, and DraftKings has their win-loss at 8.5. Now, how can a number 5 team have a win-loss of 8.5? Something ain't right there, JJ.
Well, we're about to talk about a top 15 team that has a win-loss of 7.5 next. So
Yeah, and I'm going with the over on that one.
Okay.
But sticking with Ohio State, 10.5. That means that the most they can lose is 1 game in order to cover that over.
Well, they won 2. They lost 2 last year and still.
Yeah, but they lost 2 in the regular season.
Yeah.
But then they won a playoff game. I mean, not a playoff
The
game,
Rose
but
Bowl.
the Rose Bowl. But if they win 10 this year, they won't be over. They won't cover the over to 10.5. They could absolutely lose to Michigan State at Michigan. At Michigan State, and they could lose to Michigan at Columbus.
Yeah, they.
But
could.
you know what? I'm gonna take the over.
Okay.
All that said, I say they go over 10.5. What say JJ?
Yeah, I think I don't think we're the over under. I think that's free money. I don't think we're talking about if they cover the 10.5. I think we're talking about how far they go into the college football playoff. Honestly,
Okay.
that's where I'm at with Ohio State.
So I mean they're gonna win the Big Ten championship game against the powerful Western Conference.
The powerful Western Conference, who has yet to win one game in the Big Ten Conference Championship.
Okay, I got a question to ask you in a few minutes, but yeah, we both got Ohio State exceeding the 10.5
Yeah.
over and under. Okay, team that I was fortunately enough to give a whole lot of money to in order for them to give me 2 pieces of paper that said I graduated from there. So and that's Michigan State. They gave me that what they used to call sheepskin twice. Over and under for Michigan State is 7.5.
7.5.
Ridiculous. Last year they were 11-2.
They lost a lot from last year. They lost.
They lost the running back,
They
Kenneth
lost
Walker.
Kenneth Walker. They
They lost
lost
the receiver.
Naylor, Jalen Naylor.
Okay. I'm just gonna come right out and say they will go over the 7.5. They do have a tough stretch when they play Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Those three schools back to back with an open week between Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah.
Even if they lost those 3 games, they're still 9-3.
But they also have Penn State,
The last
who
game
is
of the
not
season
ranked.
at Penn State.
who's not ranked, but is very talented, very capable.
You know what? And we talked about Penn State earlier, and we both said they were going to be below the 8.5. Penn State quarterback who's been there forever, it's not accurate.
Sean Clifford, you don't think so?
I don't think he got to be more accurate.
Well,
for me.
honestly, against Michigan State's worst in the country
Yeah,
secondary.
That was last year. Don't expect Michigan State to be that that bad this coming
Well,
year.
they had better not be because you don't have to be super accurate. You didn't have to last year to be super accurate against Michigan State.
Okay, Michigan State non-conference, Western Michigan, Akron, at Washington. Washington came to East Lansing last year. Those are their 3 non-conference games. And then I just think Michigan State's gonna far exceed the 7.5. Now, what say you? They're rated preseason number 15 in the country.
So I think that I have them winning 8 games, but I have them beating Washington. I think if they lose at Washington, that's the pivotal game. I think that takes them under the 7. So I'm gonna push them over, but yeah, I'd have my eyes on the 3rd game of the season.
You know, to me, Peyton Thorne is a pretty decent quarterback. And hopefully I can expect that he will be even better this coming year, even though he has lost one of his top receivers.
Yeah.
I just think 7.5 is a slap in the face to Michigan State.
To me, he hasn't proven himself to be anything more than a Brian Lewerke type quarterback to me.
I would say a little bit better than that.
He has not proven that yet.
Okay.
But we will see without Naylor. He still has Reed.
That's true.
They got the Pac-12 Player of the Year, the transfer running back from Colorado. He followed Mel Tucker's footsteps too. So they have talent to work with. Mel Tucker once again killed the transfer portal. They have talent. I believe in their ability, but we'll see. They have a pretty tough schedule. Even outside of like the gauntlet in the middle of the season with the 3 ranked teams, they have Penn State and they have Washington, and both of those teams could end this year ranked. So, those are 2 teams.
Okay.
And Maryland, I think, has the 2nd best quarterback in the conference.
You've mentioned that to me before.
I have mentioned. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that
in a little bit.
But while you're on that, really quickly, their win total is only 6. So their over and under is only 6. But back to Michigan State. You agreed that you said they were going to go over the 7.5.
Yeah, I think they win 8 games.
Okay.
With the pivotal game being at Washington.
Okay. I got pivotal game is that 3-game stretch with Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. If they win 2 of those games, the first 2, Ohio State and Wisconsin at home, then they got to go to Ann Arbor. When the last time Ann Arbor beat Michigan State? I know they did through time, but in the last 10 times, Michigan State has pretty much dominated Ann Arbor.
I mean, well, Michigan finishes the year better, and they beat Ohio State, which matters more to Michigan. So,
well, let that game matter and let them lose to Michigan State. That works for me. That'll work for me.
If I bet Michigan fans will take the Ohio State win, I bet they would take that.
Let them do it. I'm fine with that.
All right.
Let them do it. Let them take the loss. Let them take the loss.
Speaking of Michigan, let's transition over to that team that we're talking about. They have a slightly easier schedule.
Much easier schedule. Much easier. It should be against the law to have a schedule that easy. If you went 12-2 last year, they only played 2 teams in the preseason top 25. That's Michigan State.
It's not that much easier. I mean, the difference is Wisconsin, I feel like. But anyway, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the schedule.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay.
They opened up Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn. 3 games. What would the point spread be in those 3 games?
Well, they should dominate. But the most interesting thing about Michigan, I think, is Jim Harbaugh's recent announcement regarding their starting quarterback situation.
McCarthy or they got 2 quarterbacks.
So Cade
McNamara
will be starting against Colorado State, and J.J. McCarthy will be playing.
Are you surprised?
That's not what's surprising to me. Cade McNamara was recently named the captain. What is surprising is that J.J. McCarthy will be starting the Hawaii game, and Cade McNamara will be playing.
So what you think about that?
I think they're in an interesting situation where Cade McNamara has proven himself to be a winner, and guys believe in him. They voted him captain, things of that nature. J.J. McCarthy has a stronger arm. He's faster. He's more dynamic. He's bigger.
I was glad he played against Michigan State last year.
He did fumble against Michigan State, but he also was the only quarterback to score a touchdown on Georgia. I just feel like he has more dynamic ability in those growing pains.
I kind of have a problem starting one quarterback one game and another quarterback another game. It might work though. I just don't like it personally. I'm old school. I was born more than a couple of days ago, and so I'm old school. I just like it. Like you always told me, when you got more than one quarterback, what does that mean?
You don't have any quarterbacks, but that's the thing that happens at Michigan. I think there's a guy by the name of Thomas Brady who also
Never heard of him.
never heard of him. Who also underwent a similar situation where there was a younger guy that was more highly touted, more physically gifted, who he had to compete with, and you know, a certain segment of the fan base were clamoring for him. But you know,
Okay. Well, JJ, the over and under is 9.5 with Michigan.
oh yeah, and I think it's free money to take the over.
With such an easy schedule, I think they'll go 10-2. I think they'll lose to Michigan State. It's going to be hard to win at Ohio State because Ohio State is going to have revenge in their minds. So I think they go over.
Well, I think
And you say it's free money, so we both say they go over.
yeah, I think they win one more game than that, but I also don't think that they'll win at Ohio State.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a team that you think is very interesting, and maybe I'll come around as the season progresses, but that's Maryland. What makes Maryland an interesting team?
Their best player. Their best player who plays the most important position in sports.
Okay. The lefty.
No.
Oh, that's his brother.
His
who's
brother's lefty.
Okay.
He's a righty.
Okay.
Talia Tagovailoa,
Okay.
the Alabama transfer though.
Yeah.
He's been dynamic. He's been a great player. I think they won 7 games last year, which is at Maryland is a reason to pop the champagne. They're not exactly a football power. I mean, they're definitely a basketball school, and I think their coach would admit it. The days of Boomer Esiason are long gone, but
their coach is going to admit that they are a basketball team.
he certainly wouldn't react the way Mark Stoops did. That's for sure. But they're definitely a basketball school. But
Okay.
Talia, I think has revitalized their football program. He's just a dynamic passer. Last year, their receivers went down after game, and by the end of the season, he's on like third, fourth string receivers or anything like that. He had nobody to throw to, and they were still able to go bowling. They still were able to win 7 games, go 7-6. And I think he's easily the second best quarterback, and he's closer to being the best quarterback in the conference than he is to being the third best quarterback in the conference.
Wow.
Is how I feel about it.
Okay, well, they start off against Buffalo.
Yes.
Tell me this.
Buffalo Bull.
Why does Maryland go to Charlotte in their second game? Why do they go to Charlotte?
I would imagine because the head coach has some type of relationship with the head coach at Charlotte, or the
Okay.
athletic director has some type of relationship with the athletic director. That's normally why these things happen. It's like a favor.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I would assume is the
Okay.
reason.
Okay. Well, their non-conference, the 3-game non-conference schedule should easily be wins. So that's 3 wins there: Buffalo, Charlotte, and South Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, give me 4 wins in the Big Ten: at Michigan and home against Michigan State. Is there a win in either of those 2?
Well, we'll get back to that, but the wins that I do see.
Okay.
I see the season finale against Rutgers. I see that as a win.
Okay, that's 4.
I see Northwestern as a win. I see at Indiana as a win. And I see Purdue as a win.
Okay, definitely Indiana. I'm not so sure about Northwestern. After Northwestern, I just dogged Northwestern in a couple of videos before. Well, they only won 2 games last year, but when I saw what they did against Nebraska, maybe I was totally wrong.
To me, I think that says more about Nebraska than it does about Northwestern. I think Northwestern will let you beat yourself if you beat yourself,
Okay.
And I think
They're smart enough. They're a smart school.
I don't think they're talented enough. I think they're smart enough to let you beat yourself, but I think if you have the talent, and I don't think I think Maryland does have the talent to not beat them, but the pivotal game for them, whether it should be to transition them from 6 wins to 7, or have it be the over or a push. I think that's the Michigan State game.
You and I both. I got the Michigan State game circled on mine.
Yeah,
It's going to be at Maryland.
it's going to be at Maryland. It's going to be one of the early season regular season games.
Fifth game, week 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. I'm expecting Michigan State to show up and show out.
Yeah.
But if they don't, I don't know.
Well, I think I really believe in Talia Tagovailoa and the receiving core. I think will step up this year. Michigan State's gonna have to do something about their secondary. That game will reveal a lot. I think going as it pertains to how their secondary is gonna do in the subsequent games. Because after that they have Ohio State, who have Marvin Harrison, the junior. You had Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, you have who I think is the best receiver in the country. Michigan State is going to. I think the game against Maryland, Michigan State. I think that's going to be a proving ground for both teams.
Okay. Last team to go in the Beast, and this is the least of the Beast.
Yeah, the mighty Indiana Hoosiers.
They were 2-10 last year.
Yeah.
The over and under this year is 4.
Yeah.
They play They play Michigan at home. They go to Ohio State and they go to Michigan State, and they also go to Cincinnati. Those are 4 ranked teams. Do they win 4 games this year? That's just a push. Will they win 4 to get to the over and under?
So are they going to double their win total from last year?
Exactly.
Yeah, I am going to go with no.
I'm going under as well.
They have a very hard schedule, and they seem to be lacking talent. But Idaho should be a win. West Kentucky might be a win, might not be.
Okay.
We'll see.
You might have some biases when it comes to Western Kentucky.
That's true.
That's okay.
But that the game last year was pretty close, if I do recall.
Well, JJ, we covered the Beast, and we got one
division left.
One division left, but in the Beast, the Big Ten East, the Beast, one team's head and shoulder above others, and then there's another team that's a close second. Is that the way I read you?
Yeah, I have Ohio State reclaiming their throne as the best team in the conference, and I have Michigan coming in second.
I'm going to wait to reserve Michigan versus Michigan State, because Michigan State might come in second. But JJ, I want to commend you for sitting through 50 of these with me. You got heart, brother.
All right, thanks.
Hey, we out of here. We coming back with the next time. It's going to do the SEC West, my favorite conference.
I wonder why.
WPS. We'll pick Suey. What you got, JJ?
Well, yeah, next time we'll have the champion of the conference that has the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Nick Saban. It should be a good one.
My favorite conference. All right.
Peace. Stay tuned for 51.
Peace.